Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Blue Green Ocean Road. Your host, David R. Stenberg. Blah, 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 blah. With him always is Captain Morgan on the SS Poop Deck. Blah, 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 blah. Ben, how
All right,
are you?
I guess I got a title. Blah. Blah, blah.
Captain Blah. Captain Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It's a pod blah. It's a blah
The
blah
Blah
cast.
Cast.
It's a blah cast.
It's a wicked blah.
Blah. Blah.
Blah Cast. You see, my truck was completely covered in caterpillar shit
Oh, yeah?
yesterday. I never seen anything like it.
Really?
Took me
Wait,
a while to wash it off.
weren't you here during the infestation?
Yes, I was. But I didn't. I don't think I owned a car back then. Did I own a car back then? Maybe not.
You owned a car.
Nor did I park it under a tree.
Well, you,
I
you,
think I did. Oh yeah, I did own a car, but
you've
I
always
don't
had a
remember.
car. Unless, because I was gone. I missed it. I was already not in Rhode Island anymore. I missed the whole thing.
Hmm. Well, yeah, it was just. I never seen anything like it. It's just pretty crazy.
Well,
Uh,
it's one of those stories like, people have like the blizzard of 78, which I did see.
yes. Well, I remember what I thought was walking through the woods. I could hear, the crunching of leaves, but it was really the dropping
Oh
of
yeah.
caterpillar shit from the trees,
You,
like raindrops. It was just maddening how persistent it was. It was like a constant background noise. And then little bits of leaf everywhere, like snow falling from the trees, covering everything. It was like little bits of leaves that they chewed around and dropped, like potato chip crumbs almost on everything. And then bare trees in like July. It was just absolutely amazing.
that
Uh,
sucks.
yeah. So
I read this
anyway,
great end of the world book this week. Um, it was a plague. It was influenza, and it took out 99% of the population. So, I mean, it all slowly goes off. Like, like the TV station gets, you're watching the news, and after a while, it's just a few people, and then it's just drunks, and then test pattern, and then nothing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
um, then like things start going on, like the power goes out, then the water stops running, and then time goes on, and buildings start falling apart and all this, and society start getting people start tribing up. So the it's pretty cool because like at the end, you think like how's this going to end? Well, it ends with like around 20 years into it, somebody finally gets the power on in a small place. Like they see it like in like where the telescope says, hey, somebody's got lights on over there. Like somebody's finally 20 years later, like it's starting again. Like the nothing else happened to the planet. It's just like everybody got spread out. So it
yeah.
take a while to get the power back on. You know what I mean? I like that one.
Well, you look at that Wuhan lab, that gain of function research, partially funded by the United States, was developing a flu virus that could kill everybody
Yeah,
and figuring out ways to, make it more viral. Then maybe perhaps, figuring out a cure for the elites, so that they can maintain an elite population that's immune to the
yeah, they could.
worldwide death virus.
Who's
So they got caught with their pants down with this. Uh,
I've watched safety equipment, and like in about a half an hour, I ain't wearing the shit no more. I mean, if you work in a lab, it gets the same fucking way. matter of fact, what they call that, a level 2 containment. That's what a dentist uses, you know. And so you can't expect people just get sloppy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just all it's like I'm going to lunch. Oh, I forgot to take my booties off. Oh, whatever. You know.
At Plum Island too. That's how the Lyme disease escaped the Plum Island
Mm.
Animal Disease Research Lab, Plum Island.
It's
That's
plum.
how we.
Okay, here comes Mike. Mike Kennedy.
Oh, have any robot topics?
Oh no,
I got to
I'm
be
saving the
fully
robot
engaged
shit
in a
for Mikey.
robot topic when Mikey comes on.
No, wait for Mikey. The first thing I'm gonna bring up is robots. We're gonna talk about robots for half an hour.
Well, we were talking about, like, he was reading an end of the world apocalyptic scenario where like a flu kills 99% of the population, and says one group of people got the power on after 20 minutes. But I'm thinking, like,
20 years.
if so many people die off, I mean, there's so many systems, especially nuclear power plants, that if they're not very carefully shut down, they'll just melt down, cause much more worldwide destruction than just a plague would. So
I had this weird dream once that I was driving across like Nebraska or someplace flat, and my car breaks down, and so I sit there waiting for help. And 2 weeks go by, and nobody shows up. And I'm like, "What the hell is this?" But in the intervening time, like everybody caught this disease, and whoever like still had it or was contagious with it died. And the rest of the dream was about how I coped and how once a year I would go to the city. I'd make a pilgrimage to the city and watch how nature was taking over and vines were growing on buildings and shit. And it was really powerful, and it was like being in a movie, but it was like it felt, you know how dreams are. It felt like it was all night long. And so when I first read The Stand, I was like, the first part of The Stand was like, wow, this is just like my dream. Then he got into the good versus evil supernatural shit, and that's when he lost me.
Well, this is just how it would be. It's more of a list of things you'd miss, which got me thinking. Like, remember, I was like, my first week is table talk pies, right? Like, but I mean, after a while, you'd say, "Wow, oranges! I miss oranges."
Sugar.
You know, I
Any
miss
kind of sugar.
coffee. I miss, you know, everything. Just
well, in theory, coffee would last for, decades, because it'd be canned coffee up the wazoo, and there was nobody around to drink it, and the store's full of it,
That's right.
well, in this, nothing gets. It takes 20 years before anybody even before these people see lights anywhere. But in a couple of years, like all the buildings are falling down, trees are landing, like roofs are caving in.
It won't take long.
It won't take long. It gets destroyed. Everything gets destroyed.
Like George said about the nuclear plants, those things would be.
They're designed to scramble
melting
though.
down.
They scramble. They go back into the tubes. They don't melt. They'll be fine. Maybe the Russians won't all fucking China syndrome, but
well,
they're
still,
designed
it's
to
leaving
do
a
that.
lot to chance.
They call it the scrambles. They lose power, scramble.
Yeah.
But the problem with the ones in Japan is that they had the backup generators at sea level with them, and they didn't have the backup power to. And they didn't scramble them either for some reason. I don't know the whole thing, but I know they do scramble. If they lose everything, they're supposed to just sink back down into the tubes and shut off. Get into the graphite, the graphite tubes. Well, that's how they're designed now. Anyway, but that's not like the least of your problems, I mean,
Even if just one fucks up, that's
what's funny?
worldwide devastation.
It's like Chernobyl is not a dead forest. Like they're all wildlife is back. It's
Right.
Yes.
fine.
Because radiation takes a long time to give you the cancer.
Also,
Those animals don't live long enough to get cancer from the radiation. Unfortunately, we do.
well, it turns out that we have in our DNA the ability to deal with quite a bit of radiation. It's like we've done it in the past. Like we're from the first life, right? They call it the Big Birth. We're all descendants from that, from the first slime, you know. So all these things are in us, the capability. So apparently, these things can be woken up fairly quickly. And they, you know, it's what they've learned, like in Chernobyl. They learned that in Bikini. Actually, they were kind of blown away because the rats only live a year. So that generation, they were doing just like fine in like 3 or 4 years. It was like they were fine, you know. They just
Yeah, we'd be fine in like 3 or 4 generations
Yeah.
too. But the first people wouldn't be fine.
oh no, of course not. 'Cause-
And it was if the meltdown hadn't been, if they hadn't stopped the opportunity for the meltdown would have hit the groundwater, and then there would have been like a nuclear explosion and a worldwide seeding of horrible radiation, perhaps even causing a nuclear winter. That would
So
have
you
been in
you might
itself
have
be
you
horrible.
might have babies who live long enough to have babies,
Maisie,
but
Sit.
die pretty soon afterwards.
Maisie.
You know, from thyroid cancer mostly.
Maisie,
But their babies might live a little bit longer, and then their babies would live a little bit longer.
like how it happens all the time. That's like life has been like that forever. You know? Things change. They change, and then whatever's able to deal with it gets to go on, and the rest of you get to
In a few
Come
generations,
to
you'd have
footnote.
people who could drink radiation.
drink it.
Radioactive water. This is good.
I like to climb mountains so I get closer to the radiation. Feels good. So anyway, I thought it was good. I thought of you when I was reading it, because this is, like I said, this is the end of the world thing. Because it's everything else. It's like what people had to do. Like there's a girl I like. She learned, she was a knife thrower. I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. She's a good shot too.
Nice.
What was she wearing?
She was, I'm not sure.
Very little.
She was wearing oh yeah, they describe it. It's like yeah, clothes got kind of raggedy after a while too, It was really cool that this was it all goes, it's all like they're all kind of connected, all the characters. One is an actor who dies on stage the night of the pandemic kicking off, right? So he never experiences it, right? But he had actually it turns out like he turns out to be this guy who had this really charmed life, and also he got to leave just before all this shit hit, right? But there's all these people around him, and this one girl, the knife thrower, she was like I think 11, and she was like a stage actor. They were doing a play, and he died on stage, which is what I always wanted to do. And so she has like vague memories. Like there's that generation who just vaguely remembers anything, And then there's the people who do remember, and then that's pretty much this group turns into this traveling Shakespearean thing. They show up, and because it's a line from Voyager, Star Trek Voyager, survival is not enough. It was like a mantra, like because it's not enough. We have to do this. We have to do art. We have to have music. So that's what they're doing, even though it was like kind of dangerous sometimes. And of course they run across the prophet. There's a guy who's the prophet. They don't like this town when they go in. It just feels off. And of course there's a prophet. Of course,
Yeah, of course there is.
And they have to flee that guy. There's all that stuff. It's like the road was too rough. But we're talking about nuclear war and shit, right? This was just a stupid fluke, one that just really took.
They never really say what happened in the road.
Now, but you'd never know either. But it looks like a nuclear
Right.
war.
Could have been nuclear war. Could have been an asteroid. Could have been
could have been.
solar flare.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, it starts off. They're already on the road. I remember how it started. Like he says
And
something.
they talk about that. They talk about the night when the mother killed herself
Yeah,
because they found out shit was happening. They didn't know what, but a lot of people killed themselves. And that would happen in an emergency too. If the lights all went off all of a sudden and we had to rely on ourselves to, gather food or whatnot, a lot of people would just off themselves.
It wasn't a pandemic though, so there was still plenty of people around without shit. So that's even worse. That's scarier than anything. It's like just all the desperate people around you. It's like all the horrible things that'll happen.
It'd be a horrible culture shock to
Oh,
most
fuck yeah,
people.
man. And
I
like,
mean, if you didn't have your sources of media, if you didn't have access to shopping and getting what you need, if you
People don't
didn't
know what
have
they
a
got.
way to get around, that's an enormous shock to the system. And mentally, you would break down because you wouldn't know how to adapt your whatever is going on in your head with your new environment. Very few of us would.
It's true.
In New England, any kind of emergency like that in New England would cause like the road conditions. Like there wouldn't be, if suddenly, there was no food being shipped in from California or the Midwest or whatever.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a bird left. There wouldn't be a mouse running around in the forest. There'd be nothing. Within 30 days, within a couple of weeks, every deer would be killed. There'd be nothing left.
Well, there'll be people to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 2 months, maybe a month. Who knows?
I was reaching
Couple
in
months.
my
I give it a
brain
As long as there's
barrel,
one other human, I'm not starving.
and a mouse crawled up my arm, and I grabbed it, and I was thinking, well, if I had to eat this thing, because eating my grain would probably, be good enough nutrition to get by for a few days.
Oh yeah, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see like like Survivor Man or the Alone series, like people starve for a long time.
Yeah.
On those shows, where they're all alone and they have to just live off the land wherever they get dropped off. They mostly just starve the whole time.
Stroud knows. He actually interviews the locals. He finds out what they do, so he's prepared to at least survive. And it's smart. I mean, I like his a lot because that's like the most likely scenario.
Yeah, and basically he just starved for a week.
Yeah.
And he might touch one thing. He might catch a mouse in a trap or something like that. But mostly he just starves for a week.
He's always balancing his use of energy to his intake of energy. He's always conscious of keeping that level. Like this might not be a good idea because I'm using more energy to get that than it's going to be worth it and stuff. I love his show a lot.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
The Stroud's good.
Yep.
He did that one up in Alaska. It was just this bay. It was all rocky. That was tough. That was a tough one. The easy one was a South Pacific island. Yeah, he had a little buffet at the end, like a coconut and stuff. He had it all set out. This is like the easiest I've had.
That's why he had to stop doing that show because it was hard on his body. Every once a month he'd spend a week starving.
Yeah, he had a hell of a. Like I remember what the first one I saw, he was like in Alaska, like at a lake, a frozen lake, and he was simulating that a plane crash. He just had a fuselage that just happened to be there. So also he was going to have a broken arm, pretend broken arm. He was going to try and do it with a broken arm, and then like I don't know, like after I don't know, he didn't match the day. He goes, no, I can't do broken arm thing, So he had to, but I mean, he's honest with us. Nah, this ain't working. This ain't going to happen,
Right, he just died with it.
If I really did have a broken arm, I'd be dead. So, write that down.
Yeah.
Don't break anything on the way down in the airplane.
Did you ever see the other guy, Bear Grylls?
That guy's an idiot.
Man versus nature.
This is all things you should not do. I watched him. The minute he's on top of a rocky cliff, he just starts running down it because it's important to get to the river as fast as possible. You're running like a maniac down rocks, right? Oh, it was just funny. It was just funny. He guts a snake and fills it with urine so he can have something to drink later, right? Then he goes after. Oh shit! This is all I watched. I mean, I was done pretty quick, but he goes in and he goes after some honey in the daytime and he gets stung, right? He gets attacked. The next scene, he's walking across. Now he's pretending he's walking across the desert. There is a desert, so he's walking across it. His face is all swollen. He's drinking piss out of a fucking stick. I was like, okay, I'm done. That's it. That's all I know about the guy. Just don't do anything that guy says.
I saw this one where he picks up fresh elephant shit and he squeezes the liquid out of it.
No.
He drinks it and he's like, this is an old Maasai trick. I was like, yeah, this is a trick that the Maasai play on stupid white men.
Yeah, that they told him to do it. Okay, Mikey's here. All right, ready for the robot report.
Jesus.
Where is he?
Mike, hey, you got your, I think you got your cap on. Your lens cap's on.
Yep.
So anyway,
There he
then they're designed to help you around the house and fuck you.
And blow you.
And so and they'd recharge themselves when they plug themselves into the wall.
They vacuum the carpet, then they vacuum you. And then you can actually just shut them off and put them in a corner until you're ready for them again.
Yep.
You're ready.
And you tell them that's the best part of all. They shut up when they tell you to shut up.
That's right. Just unplug it. Unplug.
How you doing, Mikey? What's going on, man?
How's it going? Rainy. Cool
yeah?
and rainy today. 80 yesterday.
Wow.
Wow, 80, eh?
Oh, we ain't got no 80. I don't think
It's
we got
not like that here yesterday. It was nice, but
We had 80 and humid yesterday.
wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty nice here. It's like low 70s. Perfect. Really nice.
It's nice. Yeah, it's perfect. I don't know. We got some kind of weird humidity thing.
I went out for a paddle yesterday afternoon. It was really nice. Light breeze. Nice. It was really nice.
Hey, your sculpture looks great.
Well, thank you. Yep. Now I got to find a place for it.
So I had one question about it. Why did you offset the bottom, the pole and the stand?
Oh, so that the balance point of the whale.
Uh-huh.
That's where the balance point is. But I wanted the piece centered over the bottom stand.
So the whale, the sculpture is actually centered.
The sculpture's centered, but the post
pole,
that holds it up is where the balance point is.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I couldn't really tell that from the,
Yeah.
you could see that it wasn't centered, but you couldn't see how it was all centered,
Right. If you look at it in real life, you'd see it.
Yeah,
I hope you'd see it.
sure. Yeah.
Dave has no idea what we're talking about.
Nope, because you didn't share the picture with the group. I don't think.
Yeah, I'll send you something.
Hey, did you see my Water Worlds drawing, Mike?
I did.
That's the one I was talking about. That's a chapter in the book.
Yeah, wasn't that the only, in the original book, that was the only thing that was effective against one of the
No, Army
walking,
Artillery too. There was two.
Yeah.
There was Army Artillery earlier. One artillery unit got one of the machines, and the other one was that coastal destroyer, like kind of rammed. The destroyer got destroyed, but they got one of the Martian machines.
All right, check it out. I sent you something.
Video? Oh, what's it later?
No, it's very short.
Oh wow!
Look at it. Look at it.
I am looking at it. Nice.
So that's mahogany.
Yeah, the whales are mahogany, and the base is black walnut.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Trying to figure
So
out
does
how
the
to.
pole go right up through the mother into the baby?
No,
Okay.
no, because I wanted the baby to be a little bit offset.
So how did you attach the baby?
I put a little dowel between them.
Oh,
I
okay.
drilled up into the baby and drilled down into the mother. I'm working on 2 tiger sharks made out of curly maple now. They're little. They're about this big. But together they'll be a sculpture.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, making some inventory. It's weird to carve something, spend a lot of time carving something when you don't have a customer.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know if someone's gonna buy the thing.
Oh, right. You just gotta put it out there. And
Yeah, hopefully it looks cool enough that it attracts people to your site.
Right.
Like buy cheaper stuff, you know? If nothing else, it's good to have for like an advertisement. But yeah, it's my retirement job.
What's that?
It's my retirement job.
Yeah. Somebody will buy it eventually, you know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch more stuff to make. Making bowls and plates and clocks and cutting boards. Whoop, there it is.
Yeah.
So that's the ship, the Thunderchild, and that's the Martian. And that's the basket full of people. It's picking out of the water. Right?
Yeah.
And it's grabbing a shark. It's got to throw a shark in the basket, too. That's what you want.
See what happens. All the YouTube viewers back in Mars.
It's too late because the Thunderchild is there. And he's got the barrel right in his face. So he shoots, yeah. It's his. How you doing? Yeah.
Oh, there it is. That's better. Nice.
Did you make that, Dave?
Yeah.
Cool.
Not AI.
Do you guys remember a comic book called Classics Illustrated,
Oh yeah.
where they would do the classic books in comic book form?
That's how they
And
did
one of
Brother-
them I was reading was War of the Worlds. It had a scene like that. You guys ever Classics Illustrated
I never saw it.
comic
Yeah.
books?
Somehow I missed it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they they do like these abbreviations, of course. Much abridged abbreviations of classic
right.
tales and stuff. But that was nice. I mean, it gave you an insight into some of the great works of literature and whatnot. And one of them I remember was War of the Worlds, and I thought the illustrations were great.
Well, that's cool.
So it was like sci-fi illustrations and whatnot.
Oh, what? Oh, Brother,
Well, I'd
Where
like to
Art
see
Thou
them.
is what? Homer, right? The Odyssey,
The Odyssey, yes.
and the writers said so you read the Odyssey? He says no. We got the comic. He said we got the classic comic. That's what we got, and then that's how.
Yeah, yes. See, it's for our generation. I don't know, maybe just a little bit before us. For the
The graphic.
midterm baby boomers. We're kind of very late term baby boomers. I wasn't even considered a baby boomer until the early 70s, and then they kind of upped it to like 65 or something like that.
64, I think.
But it was like 50.
46
It
to
was like
64.
58, I think, was the original one.
It's 46
Yeah,
to
for a
became a
little
boomer.
while. For a
64.
little while, we had a classification all our own. We weren't Gen X and we weren't baby boomers. We were Generation Jones. You know why they called it Generation Jones?
No.
You know the term jonesing?
Yeah,
Someone's jonesing for something?
yeah.
That's pretty specific to our generation.
Oh yeah. What were
Yeah.
you jonesing
So,
for?
so I tried it on a couple of boomers. I was like, you know what jonesing means? And they're like, no.
Well, I know what it means. I didn't think it would be like for
Yeah,
that.
I thought that was a pretty common.
Yeah,
knew
for
what
us
that
it is.
was.
Yeah.
All the
Basketball
Hep Cats,
Jones.
all the Hep Cats knew what that was.
They don't Jones no more, man. They got like, there's lots of everything everywhere.
People still use that term. They
Yeah.
go through with, with Brawl syndrome for.
Yeah, the Jonesing. I didn't know this, but it was
What
like
about-
it was a marketing demographic thing that they were trying to do, targeting our generation, that specifically like because the baby boom is really long, and like culturally we probably have more in common with Gen X than we do with like people born in the 40s, but they wanted us
46.
because like 61 was the largest birth year. They wanted like to try and target, to most efficiently extract our money from us. They wanted to have designate a specific demographic to try and reach us and get our money more efficiently. So yeah, it's kind of weird. We're kind of in between.
You were Basketball Jones.
That's where it comes from.
That's what I thought.
That's not where Jonesing comes from, but that's where like our generational knowledge of Jonesing comes from.
That's when you like basketball so much, you are like a junkie.
Well, maybe for some, that's where they first got wind of that.
Basketball.
Yeah, because it used to be like a black term to be Jones.
Well, I mean, the hippie culture also knew what that was. That was part of the drug culture. That was part of the. Yeah.
Well, I tried it on some old hippies, and they didn't know what it was.
What kind of hippies from like Cranston or something?
No. Art school
And
hippies.
samples. It's a small sample size.
Well, yeah.
Know. It's hard to believe, but
Anyways,
talking about that Woodstock generation knew what that was. I'm sure.
Well, I don't know. The guy
60?
who wrote the article was lying.
46.
How
to
old was that
64.
guy? Was he a boomer or was he like a Generation X? Right?
I think he was probably a Joneser.
He's jonesing for some cred. Boomer cred.
Hey, Mikey, you know that movie you described last week? What, Ricky Skanky?
Oh yeah, stank.
I went to see the trailer, and it's nothing like the AI definition. The AI just gave you a load of shit. It's a feel-good movie of the year, whatever the fuck it said.
Yeah.
It's not. It looks actually kind of good. There's Skanky is apparently this guy they used to talk about, but he never existed. But it was like the story they told these like this group of friends, right? Their wives know about it, all this shit, right? I'm not sure why, but they used that like as an excuse or something. So now he actually shows up for real or some shit. So Ricky Skanky's causing all kinds of trouble. So it's just like, like sitcom shit where, oh no, they can't find out this is hush. You know what I mean? Like some Ralph Crandon would find himself, one of those, right? But that AI definition was like, the fuck was that?
Yeah.
It's a load of shite.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah. AI will lead you wrong every time.
Oh yeah, they lie. Oh, they lie. They don't even. They sound convincing, like they know what the fuck they're talking about. They could just say, "I don't know. I don't know." No.
So with baseball, right? There's all these fake headlines with baseball moves, right? Like this team did this team hired this team fired this, right? And so the Red Sox lost their first baseman, right? He got hurt, and there was this talk about hiring this guy Anthony Rizzo, who's kind of semi-retired from the Yankees, and so I woke up in the morning and read this headline: the Sox hire Anthony Rizzo, right? This is big news for baseball, and so I went on AI to double check it, and AI confirmed it. Yep, they hired Anthony Rizzo, chat AI, and turned out it wasn't even a thing. Yeah, it wasn't even. Didn't even
So
happen.
AI doesn't check its sources; it just goes on media
No,
or
just
It
bullshit.
did the same thing I
headlines and
did.
stuff.
It probably did the same thing I did.
Depends
It
on-
wouldn't just
It depends on which
Pounding
one you're
out it.
using. Some of
right.
them will cite sources.
Yeah.
I just
Claude-
went on the Google. I went on the Google one. You know,
One of the
Perplexity
Claude,
will give you links to where it got the information. That's what you got to do. You get the information, and you check the link. You can't just rely on it. You have to
like
go.
anything, you can't rely on your own internet searches unless you check
Well, that's true too.
sources.
Um,
well, that's what I did. I searched on AI. I asked the question: Did the Red Sox hire Anthony Rizzo? And they said yes, they did.
Yeah, it read the same article you did.
it made the same
I know.
article.
So what's the
It was
point?
the AI spreading the rumor in the first place. I was like, yeah, you believe in my shit? Here,
Right.
I'll verify.
Believe nothing.
Yeah, essentially. But that's why I like making images, because an image is an image, right? I mean, you can kind of see what you got. You know, it's not a lie; it's a thing. And if it doesn't do what I
Yeah,
want,
like
I gotta
that
tweak it.
pirate beer. That was a very convincing logo for a beer can.
That's good, right?
There
Yeah.
are all kinds of AIs,
I have
and
a
there
lot
are
of fun
all
doing
kinds of
those.
uses for them. They're not all the same, you know.
Nah.
Like that image generating AI is not the same thing as the Google AI.
Well, it is the Google. I use Gemini.
It's got different functions. So it's essentially different program or batch of parameters is the way to think about it.
How many sources do you have to check before you like share it with someone and look like a fucking fool?
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I said, it
Well, I
depends on
checked
which
this
one you
AI
use.
and I checked that AI and I checked this other AI and I fucking took a
Well-
nap and I checked again.
Well, with a movie,
Will you be your own AI and check
If
all the
so.
sources and come up with your own conclusions? You know.
with a movie,
Ask
you
it
go
to
get the
ask
trailer.
it to name its sources.
Did the Red Sox hire this guy or did they not?
Ask it to
Well,
ask it to show
Then you
you
go
its
to the
sources.
Red Sox website and
Yeah.
you find out if they did. You
Right.
know.
Yeah, what are you asking the AI for when you can just go to the Red Sox website? What the fuck, man?
Because there's ads all over
AI
the thing.
knows it all, man. AI knows it all.
Why don't you buy
Hey
Project?
Series, am I a dumb fuck?
Buy the Project.
Yes, you are. You listen to me
Well,
when you want information.
yeah,
No,
Yeah.
they tell you to like glue fucking toppings to a pizza. That was part of a recipe. So how do you keep the toppings on a pizza? It said glue. Yeah, that's how you could ask it. Or like how many
glue.
eyes in Mississippi? Shit like that. You can test it. It'll give all kinds of crazy answers. You know. That's how. What's
whatever
that
you
one?
want to hear.
Yeah.
Cheese glue and bog butter.
So I mean, images are good.
What was that? Sport? The sport? Is that was that a typo, or did the computer come up with sport? The cheese spread,
Yeah,
you spread your
yeah.
mouth.
Sometimes the words are pretty funny. No, that's not me. I tried to get it to say something normal, and it spit out that, which was better. You know, splort. You know,
Sport. That's like a legit name for a cheese-like, a spray-on cheese-like
Yeah.
product. You know.
Yeah. I was trying to get it to do that. I was doing like eat cheese like an astronaut. Just spray it right into your mouth. You know. I got it half done, and then I gave up on it. I was working on it that night. Then I got tired. It was getting good.
Hey,
Bog butter flavored.
Yeah, butter bomb.
when you guys were kids, did you ever try space food sticks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what was that? That was, yeah.
It tasted like cat shit,
It
man.
Tasted bad.
It was like a tube, yeah.
Eat like the astronauts. It's got everything you need, you know, and it comes in this little tube that you can stick
What
through
the
your
fuck were they
helmet.
called, Mike? I remember they even
Was
had
it
a
a
name.
powder?
Yeah, space
Was it a
food.
powder?
Space
That's what
food
they
sticks.
They called it
Yeah.
space food?
Or was it a powder?
Yeah.
No,
No, it was.
That's Tang.
It looked like a Slim Jim, only it was made of just
Peanut
shit.
butter
You
or
know, just
something.
like
made
not
like-
even probably
with all
that
the vitamins
good.
you need, right? But without the flavor you want,
It was like you eating in space.
because you're in space and they didn't have on the Apollo missions. This was from the Apollo missions.
Yeah, you're
The
supposed
Apollo
to
missions,
suffer.
they didn't have room for a lot of food.
That's right. Is
So they
this
had
But they took a
Tang.
lot of liberties, like Tang. Astronauts never drank Tang. It was
No.
just something they made up that they said, okay, just we'll tell you that we're drinking it. Just give
Imagine
money
having
to the
that
They
shit
space
get-
floating all
That's
program.
how
over
they
the
get
place.
space. That's how they get space goobers like you to spend your
Fucking
money.
Sticky
That's
ass Tang all over everything.
I know, orange Kool-Aid. Yeah,
Yeah.
we drink orange Kool-Aid in space, you know.
Let's poison our astronauts
And
before
it's
they
disgusting. It's all disgusting. You feel like, you should have done a little bit better for our boys in
get there. Space poison.
spaceship.
Does anybody does anybody actually like Fresca?
No. Ew.
Like,
Oh.
fucking-
I remember my mother used to. It's well, to me, all diet soda tastes like shit. Even
Yeah.
as a kid,
Is that-
I thought
is that-
it tasted like shit.
Tab. Ugh. Tab.
it's like it
I'm
had
not a
such
big fan of
raunchy
sodas.
Taste.
That
Like
soda
Tab
sucks.
too, right? Yeah, like you were saying, Tab too, all that stuff. Fresca, Tab.
Yeah, Tab. What the fuck?
I bought a 12 pack of Fresca. They were like fucking $3, right? And you shake the can up really hot to put it on a stump and shoot it with a BB gun. It fucking just explodes, man. So I did a 12 pack. They go get another 12 pack. I did that like all afternoon.
Yeah. And then or if you puncture a hole, it just whips
Yeah.
around
It
really
even
quick.
rips apart. It's pretty violent, you know. It's fucking great. Yeah. Sometimes they'll spin off. It depends how you hit it, you know. Yeah, BB gun. Fun with a BB gun in Fresca.
Fun stuff,
I
man.
wouldn't drink it, but I will shoot it.
No, like artificial
some
sweeteners are horrible for you. I mean, that's no path to weight loss at
No,
all. I
it
mean,
makes
it's
you-
really
it's-
horrible shit.
It makes you gain weight. You actually
Yeah,
gain weight
it's awful.
with diet soda.
And it tastes like
Absolutely
shit.
awful.
It tastes like shit.
Yeah,
You're getting fatter.
Soda.
And then
Soda itself is
and
fucking
then they go,
evil. right?
you're a fat pig because you're just a fat pig. You know, it's all your fault. It's not this that you were fooled or you've been drinking like horrible soda, thinking you're losing weight, and instead you're getting fucked and you're getting diabetes. And
Put down the soda.
put it all down.
Yeah, soda's fucking evil, man.
It is evil.
When I
It's
was
like-
13, I got a job at the Elfbrand store, and in the basement, that's where they stored all their soda. Back then, most soda came in glass bottles, and so I was always managing all these glass bottles because every case of soda had at least one broken bottle of soda in it. It's just how it worked out. And I remember 13, I had access to all the soda and stuff, so I'd be like this all day.
Oh God.
And it only took me like 2 days, and then I swore off soda. I would never drink it again because I drank myself sick for 2 days. I was like, oh, this stuff is.
What I do? I did
But-
that with squash once. There was a lot of squash near me during Thanksgiving, and I was like a little kid. Nobody would listen to me or pass me anything, so I just got kind of stuck next to the big mound of fucking squash. So I ate a lot of squash, and then I got sick on squash, and I didn't hardly ever eat squash now. I had my fill on one day.
Well,
So,
Fortunately, I haven't done that with squash, so I
Right.
still enjoy that.
I mean,
Squish
yeah,
squash. Nothing like it. I love it.
I loved it that day.
It's a tactic, though. That's a tactic like store owners use to keep people from eating the donuts and shit. Eat as many as you want, kids. Eat as many as you want, and then they will for about 2 days, and then they won't eat any. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead
Well,
of one
it
a
worked
day,
for me.
instead of one a day forever, they'll just eat
Yep.
like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get sick of that shit quick. No, I worked in produce.
Certainly.
I didn't get tired of fruit. When I worked in a meat department, I didn't get tired of sausages either. There's some things you don't get tired of. Sodas
Peaches
you
when
get
they're in
tired of.
season. Holy shit. There's nothing better than peaches in season. Or apples in season.
Warm peaches
Tomatoes.
off the tree. Tree ripened warm peaches right off the tree is the
Oh
best.
my god.
Kumquats. Kumquats.
A perfectly ripe summer tomato, perfectly
Ooh, yeah.
dripping ripe.
Warm from the sun, picked off the vine. Little salt.
Mm.
Just eat it.
You don't even pick it. You just go up to it and fucking yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what
take
happened to
off
my
all your
tomato.
clothes,
Yeah.
and then you roll around the dirt for a little while,
Yeah,
and then you
chasing
just
it around
like
with your mouth.
crawl
You know,
up to it.
As soon as you pick it, you cut the life force,
Don't
and everything changes. So you don't pick it; you just eat it off the fucking
Eat
tree.
it
This
alive.
is the RFK Jr. Version.
Torture that tomato. Tomato torture. Torture.
Real-
it.
Yeah, as
Torture.
soon as you cut that the life energy, the centrifugal life energy stuff, just
And
fuck.
then it's no good. Why bother, right? Just
Can you hear
might
it
as well
scream?
just starve, man.
I clearly heard that tomato scream. Screaming tomatoes.
You
Ouch.
take that to the other extreme, and this food that's picked in Mexico, unripe, shit on, probably used for fucking toilet paper,
This
put in
shit's
your
going
fucking
north.
crate, shipped up here, fucking
They gas it while it's in the truck. They gas it so it turns
gas
red.
it,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
it is.
handled by 100
kind of
fucking
paint.
pimply ass fucking geeks.
Yeah. They shoot it
Yeah.
up
The,
with flounder blood.
And then it
This-
tastes terrible when you finally get it.
there's this place in Boston where the Chiquita bananas come in. There's probably 100 places like this, but the Chiquita has one in the Boston area, Florida, and on the West Coast probably. But the delivery guys, they do nothing but bananas all day. They come in off the boat completely green, hardly recognizable. You bring them into these huge warehouses, gas them with gas that you need special respirators to be even near, and that's what turns them yellow.
That's what kills all the spiders and fucking
Yeah.
creepy crawlies that come up from the jungles.
All the jungle bugs.
Jungle bugs.
Do you want a banana?
When I worked in that chocolate factory, we had a bean shed, right? And all them sacks were from like the Ivory Coast and shit. And by the light in front of the shed was all these exotic fucking bugs, like not from around here bugs. You know what I mean? There was one. It looked like a flying X. It looked like a big X. The wings you couldn't see right, but it looked like an X. Like I was sitting there talking to the boilerman, this thing just come at you. I went, what the fuck, right? It looked like an X. He had like a head. It was the weirdest looking thing. And the
It's an
boilerman
Ebola
named it. He
fly.
says, "Yeah, that's the helicopter." He goes. So that's up in Mansfield. I don't know if any, yeah, the bean shed. There's good sleeping out there. Big sacks of beans, cocoa beans.
So you had a place like Hawaii that didn't have things like snakes or termites, and like termites would come in on the crates, the crates of goods that were shipped to Hawaii, and they had and now they're just like infested with termites.
Yeah.
The termite problem's crazy because it just eats houses alive, just like in the cartoons.
Just like
I found a giant millipede over near Marv's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
A
like
giant
freaking-
one?
It's huge. And like walking
A
across
lot
the
of
street,
millipedes this year. You
it was
notice?
huge. It
There's
was
like
I
there
think
are a
they're
lot of them this year.
one of the animals that you don't eat. I think there's toxins in a millipede.
Well, yeah, there's like an acid in the blood. So like we used to have kids would have to like if they're wearing shorts, they'd have to be careful like on the sitting logs because they sat on one and they squashed it. They get a nasty rash from the acid in the blood, and so that's why it keeps predators like birds and stuff from eating them.
most millipedes are like they'll fit in them. They're like about the size of a dime. This thing was like a good 10 inches long and probably as wide as like a quarter or a half dollar.
Wow.
Wow.
wow, it's like a walking dick.
I never saw one that
Always-
big. That's
Well,
big.
I always thought it came up like on a crate of bananas or something at Marv's.
Could be.
Yeah.
Do you remember like what was that? Maybe it was some evolutionary epoch or geological epoch in this world where there was so much oxygen you would have like like dragonflies with 4-foot wingspan, well not quite that big, but the millipedes were huge, like probably they were like like 2 or 3 feet in length.
You
and
could
they were very
saddle 'em.
wide. Perhaps, yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah,
want one
those-
crawling on you, I suppose, but
Get on his back and ride it around. Oh, their little
You
legs.
know,
I can watch them all day. I don't know. This is a trip. It seems
Yeah,
like
oh
a.
yeah,
It seems like a.
this wasn't
Seems
this wasn't
unnecessary.
on Route 6. This was you know that road like across from Route 6 that kind of goes diagonal toward Route 6.
that's Old Danielson Pike.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, I was walking down there, and this thing just came was crossing the road, and I'm like, holy shit! I've
Yeah,
never seen anything like this.
I've seen him. You know, as fat as my finger.
Yeah,
You know, and that long. Where are you?
yeah.
That long.
I don't know if it's a different species or just a weird
Yeah, they're
mutation.
not even insects.
I
They're
don't know.
just. There's something. There's something else.
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, I don't know. Ask AI.
You know how there's like
Let's get a bunch of misinformation about centipedes.
You get the 4-leggeds, the 6-leggeds, the 8-leggeds, and then the
Yeah, just
4027.
ask AI how many legs a centipede has. Let's see what kind of crazy number it gives us. 3.
Is that what you want to hear? 3.
so you know how there's like just a few major families. There's plant, animal, fungal, bacterial, viral. After the Cambrian explosion and before that first mass extinction, there was over 20 kingdoms that were different from each other. That were that different from each other, and there was some really crazy looking creatures that were running around back then. So as different as we are from plants, there were 20 other things that were that different from each other.
I heard this
I
great
like
thing
the
about life on planets, right? It says like, why don't we hear anything from other planets, right? So you just think about our planet, right? How long we had life here? 2 billion years, right? Something like
Almost 4.
4 billion. All right, 4 billion, right? 4 billion years life, right? 100 years radio. So
Right.
and we're even moving away from it already, you know.
Yeah, right. The digital.
Yeah. So that might be why.
And also probably, less than 10 light years out, our radio signals just kind of melt into the background microwave radiation. And so they only go out so far.
Yeah.
But, they're a biological, like they say, if you talk to a physicist, he'll tell you there's got to be billions of civilizations in our galaxy alone.
Yeah.
When you talk to a biologist, he'll say, no, it's probably none.
Life,
Because-
yeah, but not, civilizations.
Right, because I said that before. The invention of the mitochondria was a big thing, and it was an accident. It was something that did not necessarily happen. It was over 2 billion years before it happened. That life was just going to be single-celled animals. They're never going to, those single-celled animals, if it hadn't been for mitochondria allowing us to have multicellular life, they'd never build a telescope or a radio or whatever.
And we got control over our larynx. Like, all animals have larynx, but they don't do it. They can't control them. They just make that one noise, that's that big hit. And they go through life just doing that, like tweet or whatever the fuck they do. But we got all this control over them. And, like, hardly any other animal can do that.
Right.
Some of them can do it to some degree, but very small. Not come up with whole fucking languages and
That's like
diesel engines.
for instance, like to us it sounds that way, right? But to an animal, we sound that way. We just fucking make this one sound.
No, we make more than one sound, Mikey. We make way more than one sound. Like, even they might be, I'm not saying they don't communicate or have variations in what they say, but we're the ones with ranges, like a lot of range. Like,
Yeah, the social animals have, wolves have language. It's very small, not like ours. Dolphins and whales have more complex languages, but they're much smaller than ours.
But they communicate to each other in lots of different ways, probably more than we do.
I'm just talking about the noises that we can make. Just like
Yeah,
we can
I know-
sing
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that stuff. You know, not like there's anything more complicated about what we do. It's
Well-
just that we can make a range of, like, we can sing, you know, like, and have a lot of
Humpbacks. Humpbacks can sing. And they have a complex compared to other
Yeah, but how
animals.
many hit records do they have?
Once a year, they have a big hit that
have a
everybody
big hit.
joins in.
It's
Oh.
it's the sensation of the ocean, you know.
Passes around the globe
Yeah.
until all the humpbacks learn it. And then the next season, they start with that song and build
You
it
know-
into another song that they all learn.
Mike, it turns out it's not a song at all. It's a dirty joke. And it's somebody just writes one every. They're all just telling it to each other. Hey, you hear that one? You hear the one about the humpback? And
Oh,
you
yeah.
hear the one about the stupid fisherman?
Yeah, I know. It's like we see the whole universe from our perspective, you know, and our perspective is maybe pretty narrow compared to
Oh, yeah.
other species and stuff like this. We judge everything from our perspective, and so we don't necessarily know or to what extent, you know, maybe they don't need to communicate more than having a song that goes across the world and stuff
they
like
get by
this.
with
Maybe
it,
that
yeah.
suits them. We adapt what we have to suit our needs, and
You moved 4
we
years
overlook what
back
they've
1
done
year.
to
That
adapt
means
to their
there's-
needs.
Yeah.
The chickens
What?
are restless.
The other thing, like if you had, let's say you had another planet that had, multicellular life, complex life, they wouldn't necessarily build radios either.
Right.
They might be living on a planet that's like Europa, that's covered in ice, so they don't even know that there's a universe out there. They swimming around in their ocean, and they could be really smart. They could be smarter than us, and have deep philosophical discussions, but they don't know about the rest of the universe because they don't have fingers, so they don't build radios.
Yeah.
They have fins, and they like whales. Whales are intelligent as us, but
Octopus.
all they have to do is swim around with their mouths open.
So who's smarter, them or us? Right? They just swim around letting the food come to them. Here we are, with our car troubles.
Who's smarter is who's going to stay
Making
around.
diet soda at McDonald's, man.
Yeah, how smart are we when we got a fucking line at Taco Bell?
Yeah, that's clearly better.
Clearly.
It's all dumb.
Maybe we
What
like getting in
octopus,
line.
man?
Maybe we like
What
poisoning
octopus?
ourselves.
Right.
Maybe we feel
like
like
it
we
that
live
way.
too long.
How smart are octopus though? Huh?
Octopus are really smart.
Yeah, they're the ones driving the UFOs. That's
They
what's in
only
there.
live 2 years, unfortunately. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for us, they only live 2 years. Otherwise, they take over the fucking planet.
It's like
amazing.
it's one of the best
That-
sci-fi movies I've seen was Arrival, where they had like
In
I
the
don't know if you
atmosphere.
guys seen that, but
I went with Mike, right? Me and
Yeah.
you went, right? Was it?
Isn't
Then-
all
yeah,
species
then-
though that live just 2 years, or is just some species?
No, they live 2 years. They don't live a long time.
Is it all octopus? All different? All the yeah.
Ask
Ask
AI.
AI.
That's what. All right. Wait. Let me quote my source. All right. It's a two-part.
Okay.
It's a two-part series I saw on television called Octopus. That was a two-part documentary
that's
about
surprising. I would assume that they would live much longer than 2 years.
Yeah, but was it on the History Channel? Was it on the History
Nope.
Channel? 'Cause-
Nope.
No, that's okay. Yeah, the History Channel is the original bullshit channel, man.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God.
How long do octopi
It's the
live?
mad
Long to
speculation channel.
Right. This is Google AI overview.
Uh-oh.
Octopuses have relatively short lifespans, with most species only living 1 to 5 years.
I bet you the 5's wrong, but it's close, right? 1 to 2.
Still,
like
they don't
Mike
live
said.
long enough to take over the planet.
And
Well-
the Red Sox did hire Anthony Rizzo.
Maybe they are running. Maybe they are running the planet. Maybe they don't die. Maybe they're getting them UFOs and stop flying around.
Maybe they have a much closer relationship with reincarnation,
Yeah.
and they pass their their intelligence from one reincarnated generation to the next.
They come back as chickens.
Is that what that picture is? Is that an AI generated picture?
No, this is a Gary Larson.
Oh,
generated.
Gary Larson.
The
Yeah,
chickens are restless.
Gary Larson.
Oh yeah,
Great.
they're coming for you, George. They've had enough. They want their
Yep.
eggs back.
No doubt. They're going to take their revenge.
How are your chicks doing? Both you
Oh,
guys, how are
lovely.
your chicks doing?
One that's in poor health.
Still? Yet, well, I mean, if it's eating and drinking, it just may be an underdeveloped, Is it still eating and drinking?
Yeah, it's still eating and drinking, but there's something wrong with her, man. She just sort of sits there and no energy, that kind of thing. She's very slow to react to anything,
Like,
So
try any like methamphetamine or something? Or
Try that
no, I mean,
cat.
she's just they
Jeez.
they
I
were
don't
they
know.
were all exactly the same for about a week, and then one just stopped, sort of arrested development kind of thing.
It might be. Now, I don't know for sure, but next time you get chicks, get them all the same breed. And for some reason, the difference of the one may contribute to the,
Right.
it's not thriving as well as the others. Anyway,
But she's got like this bald spot just under her thing, and it almost looks like there's some kind of like growth.
oh, that could be, yeah, could be a birth
Be
defect.
like
I mean,
chicken cancer.
they're not immune to that kind of thing.
I'm expecting she's just not going to survive.
Well, I gotta say,
Yeah, it
I've
happens.
had pretty good luck.
Well, you get a bunch of them.
Oh, look
Yeah,
at
now we
that.
got a few.
Ah, the chickens are
Oh, look
restless.
at that.
Look out!
How many you have, Mike?
Just 4.
You may need a few more.
Yeah, I don't want to go too many. It's too much
I
work.
got one in my refrigerator.
Yeah, I've
Guard
got
rocks
one
look
for
like they're
Sunday
almost
dinner.
ready to lay eggs.
It's cutlet shaped. I got a cutlet shaped chicken.
Yeah.
How old are those, George, now? Those like 6 weeks?
Coming up on 5.5, I think. Maybe, yeah, 6 weeks about.
So they're pretty much ready. Yeah.
They're looking like they're
After
going to be
laying.
laying soon.
Probably, I'm thinking probably by the end of the summer, they'll probably lay. But
I mean, they're ready
It's
to
like-
go out with the others.
yeah, that's gonna be a difficult thing. If we get consistently warm days, I can move this crate out to the pen, and they can get used to each other out there. But until they're accepted into the coop, they're going to end up congregating next to the gate, next to the fence, and that's when the raccoons will get them. They'll just pull them apart through piece. They'll grab onto them through the fence and pull them apart.
I saw a fox yesterday. Come right up to me. Didn't know I was there. I was in the booth behind the glass.
Yeah.
He had his back to me and everything. He was not paying attention. And I was wondering why, because that's a nice sign of rabies, when
That's right.
when they're just
That's right.
around and they don't seem too concerned. They don't seem aware. So I let him, her or whatever, walk on by. Yeah, that's not good.
We have a fox that walks through our yard like he owns the place.
Well, maybe,
Because in his mind, he does,
yeah.
But he has this route that he follows out by the stone wall out there, and any rodents I catch, I'll throw out there for him. They disappear overnight.
Okay, they well, this is the booth. I don't know. There's maybe some gods have been throwing food out there, which is bad because that means, because it's bad. Well, if you're feeding the wild animals, man, that might be what's going on. But it was cool seeing them anyway. It was good. Oh, look, a fox. How about that?
Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah. I saw one. There was these customers on Absalom Hill Road. So one of my last stops, they used to feed a fox on their stone wall in the back of their lot, and he never came up. He never was comfortable. Year after year, he'd still do this careful route, and so
We had one when we were when we were living in a tent. We had one that we had set up our tent right in the middle of its path, its nightly rounds. It would come out in the night and bark at us like a little yappy dog.
That's cool.
It was pissed.
Yeah,
You're in my way.
this is my shit.
Well, boys,
While you were
you
getting
guys have a
pissed.
good day.
While you were
Yeah.
getting pissed.
And
It was pissed.
Ricky Skanky.
don't let the bastards
Right.
get you down.
Hey, Mikey just cleared
Right.
out.
He just did the Irish goodbye.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's not into long goodbyes.